Hello everybody and welcome to my kitchen tonight. Tonight we're going to do something that's probably been done quite a bit, but I'm going to put my own little spin on it. We're going to make lasagna with meat sauce, and we're going to use beef, but we're going to try to give it the illusion that it tastes like Italian sausage. I'm going to make this in smaller portions because I want to put some in the freezer, but the concept is the same even if you're making a really big pan of it. So in the spirit of Halloween, I'm going to do a little bit of a costume, but not a whole lot. So I'm going to get some things ready, and then we're going to get to making some lasagna. We'll be back in just a minute. Hi, we're back. So I'm going to start with, I've got my little island here, trying to make it a little easier today. I'm going to start with some green onions, scallions. I've already washed them off. I'm just gonna give them a nice little chop. I'm gonna put those in the pan. I've already got some ground beef in my pan. We'll turn to that in just a minute. I absolutely love Halloween. Still 2 weeks away, but I'm going to tell you, it was a brilliant idea to put on a lot of eye makeup and cut onions. Alright. There we go. Gonna bring you over here. We still have to put something there, so ignore that. Let me adjust you a little bit. So I've got a Dutch oven here. And I really like my Dutch ovens. See? Got my lid there. When I make bolognese, sorry, I'm grabbing my seasonings. Somewhere I've lost my hand towel. So I'll just get another one. When I make my bolognese for lasagna, I'm gonna make it a little thicker, so you gotta have a lid on it for when it splatters, and make sure it's a tight fitting lid. So I've got my green onions and my hamburger meat in here, or ground beef. It doesn't really matter if you want to use a lean ground beef or whichever kind of ground meat you like, turkey, chicken. I've never actually cooked ground turkey or chicken, so I can't say how that would turn out, but if you've done it, then you know. And everything's worth an experiment. I guess if you use certain seasonings, then you can make anything taste pretty similar. I might have to give that a try one day when nobody's here and see if they can tell the difference. That would be a cool little thing to do. So I'm just gonna get that all mushed up for a minute. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do to kind of give it that taste is I'm gonna use some anise seed. You can use powder. And I'm gonna sprinkle it in here. before I cook the meat. Just give it a healthy amount because I do want it to have that Italian sausage. And forgive me if the shadow, again, I'm doing this in the evening, so I'm gonna use some garlic powder. Just give it a healthy, I like to make sure I can see it on the top. It's one of the reasons why I like to do my meat out. We're not gonna use a lot of pepper. Hold on a minute. Sorry if that rack is loud. We're not going to use a lot of pepper, but I'm just going to use some ground black pepper. I'm not using any salt because we're going to use other seasonings that have blends. And it'll have salt in it. And oh, I haven't even opened that yet. Okay, now this is the point where I'm going to start cooking it, but I want to take a moment to say that this seasoning here, this Italian seasoning, it has a lot in it on its own. It's got the oregano and I believe the parsley, and it's really good. I've been actually using that one for years. And then there's this one, Everything Italian. This one's I just started recently using. Sometimes I use just a little bit. Sometimes I use a lot. It's got the red pepper flakes in it, so if you use it, be careful if you don't want a real spicy bolognese. And this bolognese sauce, you can do it with lasagna or you can do it with any other pasta. It's not specific for lasagna. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to actually turn it on to medium high, right there in between medium and high, and I lost my fork. This is the bolognese sauce that I think I've been making and been eating all my life. Well, I changed it a little bit since my mom used to make it. Ooh, I really need to clean my stove. I was really tired yesterday, so after dinner I didn't really clean up everything, so forgive my dirty stove. But I've changed it up a bit since my mom used to make this for me as a kid. But I use this for my spaghetti, which I use vermicelli noodles, because they're kind of in between the size of a spaghetti noodle and angel hair pasta, so it's not too thick and it's not too thin. It's a lot easier for me to cook it without getting it too done or not done enough. But yeah, so if you want to make some baked ravioli, there you go, you can do that too. All you need to do is make whichever noodle or pasta that you want. The way that I'm doing the lasagna, you can replace the lasagna noodles with, like I said, the ravioli, and eat ravioli of your choice. You'd be surprised using the same bolognese, and I like mine minced, so you'll see me irritating it until it's completely minced. I don't want big lumps in mine. I like it to be spread out throughout my whole lasagna. I will add more things if needed, because you can kind of tell when it starts to have that really good Italian smell using the fennel seed, and you can put a dash of oregano in there. But if you're using a seasoning like one of these, you gotta have, well, let me see if I can, if you're using one of these, then it might overload on the oregano as well, because they do have oregano in them. Oh goodness. I'm going to use this. once I get my tomato sauce in, I'm going to use this, and I'm probably going to use 2 to 3 packages today because I have such a large amount to do. It's a share night. I'm actually sharing this, so I'm making separate dishes, and I'm also going to put some in the freezer. I'm trying very hard not to scratch the bottom. I usually use my other Dutch oven, but like I said, I'm making a larger amount. So I've got my enamel Dutch oven out. I bought this, or Simon bought it for me at World Market. If you're wondering, if you're new to cooking, if you're wondering, okay, so what's a Dutch oven? A Dutch oven is basically what was used as a crock pot before there was crock pots. It was a slow cooker. It's a cast iron. It actually, the whole entire thing heats up, so you can heat it up and then put it on low, and it'll maintain that heat and slow cook things. You can use it in the oven to slow cook or roast. So it's a really versatile pan or pot. And even better, the lids. The lids are the same. The lids should be made out of the same cast iron that the pot is, which also gets hot. You never really want to touch one with your bare hands once you've got it heated up. I have some really cool pot holders that I use sometimes when they're nearby. Oh, ow. That was hot. Alright, so got that going. I'm going to go turn on some water. I hope it's not too loud. Okay, I'm going to have to talk a little louder. Alright, so now that I've got it, I don't know how well you can see that, but it's minced really fine. Getting browner enough. As long as you don't get too fatty of a meat. Sometimes, I think I've got too much fat in mine this time, but sometimes that grease and stuff that comes out of your meat, it starts to go away, so it reduces down as it fries that. As long as you don't burn the meat, usually that's a good indicator that your meat is done when it gets really low on grease. Oh, gotta get my water. Now I will say this. I'm by no means an expert on doing lasagna noodles. I do know that I don't want them to be hard, and I don't want them to be overly soft. I'm really going for as close to al dente as I can get without making them too squishy, because with lasagna you kind of put it in the oven. So See, I don't want a lot of grease, so if you pull it back, when it starts to lose all of its pink, and look at the grease content, that's got way too much for my liking. So I'm gonna go grab a yeah, that's like, I could throw some french fries in that grease there. Oh, sorry. Alright, so it's lost all of its pink. So I'm going to go and stick this in my metal fine mesh strainer. Alright, I'm going to turn that down just a bit. We'll give it a few tosses in the strainer. I know I'm not showing this part, but everything's pretty far apart. So I use this mesh strainer so that my meat doesn't go through it like in the big hole one. Also, I've got a large pot. Here, let me see if you can see it. A large pot here. There it is. Like a drone flying over. Of water getting hot. This is where I could really use that island. Yes, that's exactly why my stuff's like flick stuff around. I could really use that island in the center that has the stove and stuff on it. One day. Alright. So, at this point, I'm getting ready to go get my sauces to put in. This stuff, I'm just going to sprinkle, I'm going to say maybe about half a teaspoon because I'm making such a large amount. I might add more later. Once I get the, I've got something all over my hand. Where'd that come from? Huh. Oh, I probably messed with my makeup. So I'm going to also just use a very small amount of this because I don't want mine to be extra spicy. I did that last time. This time I want it to be more tame. And oh my gosh, I messed up so bad. It's not even, that's okay. Since you're watching the video all the way through, hopefully before you're making this, it was fennel seed I meant to use. It's not that much different, but it's different enough to where I can't actually, the anise is not strong enough, but it's got the same concept to it. So we're going to put some fennel seed in here. My bad. There, that's that smell that I'm looking for. Anise and fennel, they're really close. Both have a licorice type. There it is. But anise more so than fennel. Fennel has that nice Italian sausage smell to it. That's much better. If you ended up putting anise in it, you're not going to hurt it one little bit. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to go and open some cans. It's a really loud ordeal, so I'm going to go open some cans. And then we'll be right back to start adding everything else. Alright, I'll turn this back on. I had it turned off for a minute so it didn't get overdone. I've got it on medium. And I am going to start now. I've got 2 cans for this large pot. Petite, where are you? Petite diced tomatoes. I've drained most of the liquid out. I don't want this too watery. My garbage bucket is too far away from me. So for this larger pot, I'm doing 2 cans. They're the 14.5-ounce cans of petite diced tomatoes. And I did figure out what the black stuff is on my hands. I keep moving my hair away from my kitty cat painted nose, and that is what it is. And I'm also going to use a whole can of the tomato paste. These are just the store brand ones. They're just as good. A long time ago I came across one that was way too salty and acidy, but I don't remember what it was, and I haven't run into it again, so maybe it's not out there anymore. This tomato paste is going to help me thicken up my sauce. I'm going to go ahead and blend that around. See, if you wanted to, if you didn't want it too saucy, you really don't have to add much more than that. You could just do it like that, and then add your seasoning, which we're also gonna do to taste. Like I said, you can put some in. I'm gonna put 1 in now. Start getting that flavor blended in there. But I might have to add them as I go, because sometimes the tomato sauce and the tomatoes can be quite acidy and overpowering, and it starts tasting more like tomato, and I'll add things as I go. I've added a little bit of olive oil to my salt water that's over here boiling. Ooh. It's a great thing about having long hair. It falls out all the time, and you have to constantly make sure it's not on you. So I'm going to go ahead and add my crushed tomatoes. Oop, splatter. I don't have one white today, so we're good. This was a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Like I said, you can stop at any point and start on just making sure the flavor is right about now. If you want it to stay that thick, and you don't need much more for whatever serving size you're cooking. I'm gonna let that heat up just a minute. No, it's not ready, but I do want to check my flavors. A little bit more of that. I'm going to add some more fennel. You know, when you're having pizza and stuff and you get those little seeds, it's fennel. Let's see. I wanted to add a little bit more of this everything Italian. See, it's starting to bubble on me. It's not going to come out that end. I don't know why I tried. Just to give it that little spice. Just a little. I'm just layering my flavors as I go. Now that it's getting hot, let me see if I'm going to add this. Yep, I'm going to do just a little bit more of the Italian seasoning. I say a little bit, and then I'll put a lot. And then I also used, I used the the fresh garlic as well. But right now I'm going to use some minced garlic. Get it in there. We want some garlic. And then I've got 3 cans of the tomato sauce. They are the 15-ounce cans. Don't add any water to any of this. You don't want it to be watery. But I do want to quit losing my hand towel. It's looking nice and thick, nice and thick. We're also going to make some garlic toast as well. Give me another spoon. See, fresh spoon. It's just me making those professional sounds of. So I'm just going to add a pinch more of the everything Italian. And I've got my 3rd thick and zesty spaghetti. But I'm not going to add it all. I'm just going to sprinkle some on there. I'd say about half of it. Gonna add a little bit more black pepper, just a couple dashes, not a lot. A little garlic powder. I don't want to get too many of those dried minced garlic in there. I don't want it to feel grainy. And then just a couple more fennels, and I am gonna feel like that is perfect, and it's starting to jump out at me. That's what the lid's for. All right. Let's have a taste of that for another spoon. I like to keep those spoons nearby so I can just grab a new one every time. And that is what I call perfect. Alright, so once I get it exactly where I want it, I really want all those flavors to start blending. So I've got this on medium. I'm going to turn it down to halfway. Well, let's say not all the way to medium low. It's going to be just a little under medium so that it's not too low. And then we're going to get our water. Wait, oh, there it goes. Yep. Put the lid on. Put the lid on. Put the lid on. This is how I end up with. Oh. bloopers. So we're gonna wait for the water to get to boiling. I wanted it a rolling boil so that when I add the noodles, it doesn't straight cool it down, because when it cools it down, sometimes the noodles don't cook right. You want to have it at a full boil so that it stays at that pace while you're doing the noodles, and it just rapidly cooks them, or at least cooks them evenly. So we're gonna, you know what, I'm gonna turn that down to low. It's wanting to be fast today. So once this water gets to boiling, I'm going to put some noodles in, and then we'll come back. Alright, so I've got my lasagna noodles. I've got this 16-ounce Skinner. Any kind of pasta noodles that you buy is fine. I just wanted the smaller ridges today. I'm just going to put those in a couple at a time into my boiling water. I kind of make sure they don't fall right on top of each other. I should be showing this in the video, but I have a couple things going all at once. You'll see it sooner or later. So, I'm actually going to do more than one box, but I'm going to do one box at a time so they don't all stick together. Alright, so what I'm about to do is, y'all fixing to see inside my messy drawer. That's what's fixing to happen. There it is. Clean up my brush. Alright, so I've got a whole stick of butter, melted. I'm using the Keri Gold butter today, and a garlic herb topped Italian bread. Oh, I got this one from Walmart today. I'm just gonna slice it in the thicker chunks because I don't want it to be too crispy. I do want to get this done before I put my lasagna into the oven. Oh, I made that one a little fatter. Any kind of French bread, Italian loaf. I've used a regular loaf of sandwich sliced bread to do this before, and it turns out perfect. Whatever you have works. There is no way I'm going to fit all this in my pan. I'm going to have to do two. Alright, so I have my pan here, and I'm going to lay them out just like that. Ooh. You can use a bigger pan if you want to. Or if you're like me, sometimes just the one that you can find that's clean. Oh, I just did it again. I just got my hair out of my nose and smeared my kitty nose all over the place. Alright. You can tell I don't wear makeup very often. I'm probably going to need more butter. But we're going to start with that, and we're just going to see if you can see all of that. Yep. We're just going to dip it, give it a good slather. And yeah, the Keri Gold butter is a lot darker than the regular Land O'Lakes or other salted sweet creams. I like the salted sweet cream. But if you want to use unsalted, that's fine too. Or a butter substitute. just going to try to make sure most of it gets on there. If there's any left over, I'll go over them again. I should use this headband to pull my hair out of my face. My bangs are right at that stage to where they like to curl up and go right under my nose. I think I'll have plenty, just for the first batch anyway. And yes, this Kerrygold really is that yellow. It really, really is. It's probably a little yellower on video, but it is yellow. I have an Irish in me, so gotta go with some Irish butter. I love those buttery edges, so a little goes a long way with this stuff too. So I gotta go check my noodles. Then we're gonna go on to the next step with this. Oh, and I'm dropping stuff over here. Going to give them a little bit of a stir to make sure they're fully apart. I use the oil to keep them from sticking together. Okay, now we're going to get some going to use the granulated, let me make sure you can see that, the granulated garlic with parsley. Sometimes this gets really messy, so I'm just going to give it a little shake until it's all coated. You can do a little, you can do a lot, whatever's your fancy. And that batch is ready to go in an oven, and I'm going to do it at 350. And it doesn't usually take very long. It usually takes about 15 to 20 when it starts to turn golden brown. Or if you want it soft, you can, yes, I have a dish mat on here. It keeps my chopping board from being loud. Let's check our sauce while we're here. I know it's a little sideways, but oh, dang it, with the little nosy. See, that's really hot. See, it's been popping all over the place. I did turn this to low, if you heard me say that before I turned off the video a minute ago. And it's still, like I said, these Dutch ovens, they maintain their heat, so. Looks good, looks good. Oh, there we go. All right. Let me check my noodles. Okay, so let me get one of these out. I'll draw off a little bit. So they're still really hard, but they're flappy, but we want them to be a little bit more cooked. I'm just gonna keep stirring it so that I keep the oil from the oil in there, keep them separated and slick. I don't really want them to catch the bottom of the pan either. because they'll get stuck. I've had that happen so many times where one sits on the bottom and it just gets carried away with the heat. So, alright, so we're going to let all that cook for a minute and we'll be back. Alright, so I've got everything done. Oh, I'm missing a knife. That'll work. Okay, so I'm making 3 or 4 of these little thin, I don't have a clue of what size they are. Let me go look. They're 8 by 8 by 1 5/8. So they're not very thick. Normally I would use a thicker one or just one of my own pans. They're just shallow, but like I said, I want some usable size ones. I'm also going to be using the Provolone Mozzarella blend and Parmesan blend. Alright, so I've got some noodles out. I don't have them all out. And I'm going to cut them down to size. Okay. See, they're pliable and they can cook without... Oh, I'm missing a step. I apologize. I don't want to touch that. Toaster looking really good, really good. So we're going to take the top off of that and set it somewhere where it won't burn me. Okay. So we've got our, we're going to put a scoop. I've got an assembly line here lined up. We're going to put a scoop of that in here. Make that 2 scoops. Or about a scoop and a half. I'm just going to get a good layer on the bottom. Just a nice thin layer. And I'm going to start putting those in there. Now I didn't get all my noodles out because let's just use this one as a I don't want them to stick together. And I didn't rinse these off because I want them to stay pretty hot. Oh, that one's a little bit bigger. Alright, now that I've done that, let's see. Oh, did I just move my camera? Now that I've done that, I'm going to put some more sauce on it, except this time it's going to be a little healthier. I'm going to try to get at least 3 layers in these little thin. I'm just going to spread it around as evenly as I can. That's what I like about this rounded spoon. It kind of allows me to work with these corners. I'm going to take some of my mozzarella. Mozzarella is a pretty cheesy cheese. I mean, you don't have to put a lot unless you really, really want to. Just kind of cover it up a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this Parmesan and sprinkle it on. If you want to saute some mushrooms as well and put on there, there's an idea. And I say that because I bought some and I didn't do it. Alright. So now we're putting on our next layer. Obviously it's getting a little narrower, so I need to a little shorter. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get another layer on. Well, if I had my kitchen scissors over here, that would make it a lot easier. But I think I used them on pumpkin, so they're not available. If you caught all that while I was mumbling. All right, and we're gonna add a little more sauce. Oop, I just totally sideways that one. Teach me to pick it up. As long as I don't overdo the sauce and the cheese, I'll be able to get that third layer on there. Or if you want to call it the fourth layer. You really don't have to put a lot of cheese. Like I said, you put a lot of cheese, that's all we want on you. However you like it. If you're making a deeper dish, then yes, by all means, use a lot more cheese. There's also ones that you can use ricotta. When I make the spinach manicotti, I like using ricotta. Okay, this is going to work out quite perfect. And here goes our last layer. A little, just make it a nice even little layer. Don't cut your pan if you're using a disposable pan. That would be bad. All right, so don't have to put as much on this layer. You want it to be a little bit thinner. If you just kind of circle it around with your spoon, or if you're like me and you're using a well, brain blank, freeze. There's nobody in there. This thing that I can't think of the name of. Ladle, thank you, ladle. Okay, so you're using a ladle, that roundness on it helps a lot. I need to find my other pair of kitchen scissors. That's driving me insane, that bit right there. So I'm gonna get me another little healthy spread of this. Now that we're doing the top, I'm gonna put a little bit more. I like the provolone. It gives it a different taste. Sometimes I've actually just used provolone and parmesan. How everybody likes a cheesy top. Come on. And my bread should be right about done, so we'll be able to put this first one in and it'll be able to go where it's supposed to go in the neighborhood. And no, I don't have to foil this because it's not frozen. It's gonna put a healthy bit in there. Healthy bit, healthy bit. All right, I'm just gonna leave my oven on 350. Oh, yep, there goes it. Burn down the house tonight. I'm gonna just find something I'm missing. Oh, I was going to use my other flat pan. Where'd it go? There it is. It's actually where it's supposed to go. Who thinks to look there where things are? I'm going to put it on this flat pan, this cookie sheet, and get it in the oven. We're going to have a look at our bread once I clean up my mess, and then we'll start the next lasagna. Let me check my battery. Okay, how about I go and put in a new battery, and then I'll be right back to do another lasagna and check the bread. So I took these out of the oven, and look, the oven actually ate part of one. Just kidding. Like I said, sometimes when people are cooking, they aren't hungry by the time they're done. So my bread turned out nice and crispy. It's all flaky and crispy, but it's soft enough to eat. And no, I'm not going to eat it on camera today. So that batch is done, and I'll make another batch. Okay, so we're going to start the process all over again. About 1.5 or 2 ladles worth. I was vibrating my voice as I said that. Of the sauce on the bottom of your pan. I wasn't as fast as I normally am, so some of these got a little bit crazy. We're gonna put a little bit of sauce on the bottom of your pan, and then we're gonna cut our, well, you don't have to do this if you're using a full sheet or a full pan. You don't have to cut yours. Like I said, I'm using these. I'm making 4 singles, and oh, come over a little bit, pasta. Well, that one's a little too. Move it around. There. I don't want it to be too bumpy. That is not the prettiest layer I've ever done. Now we're gonna get another bit of that. Use our ladle to kind of smear it around, even it out. Put more in there if you need it. Hopefully I'm staying in view. I put a little bit of our mozzarella. Oop, that was way too much in that one spot. It's all right. A little bit of our Parmesan. Just trying to make sure it's even, that's all. That's the only goal you're going for. Oh, spooky dishes that I haven't even touched or moving over there. It's like all slippery. They don't want to. It's like, no, don't pick me, don't pick me. See, also, you don't want to waste these, which I won't. Like I said, I'm making more, but I'll go ahead and do one now. You can just put those pieces together. I will be doing that. I'll use mostly pieces on the next 2 that are going in the freezer. I'm not going to do those on video because I want them to cool down a lot more before I make them, because I'm not going to cook them in the oven I'm gonna leave the cheese uncooked to put it in the freezer. Sorry, I think I said the oven a minute ago, but yeah, I'm not gonna cook the freezer ones. Just gonna prep them up for the oven. Alright. This is actually working out quite well. I've never made such small lasagnas before. Now let's go ahead and use our pieces on that. I don't want too much of an overlap because I don't want it to be too thick in that one spot. And I forgot the Parmesan cheese on that, but it's okay. We'll make up for it. We will definitely make up for it. If you're using Parmesan, that is. You don't have to use Parmesan if you don't like. You can just use Mozzarella. You can use whatever cheese you want. What do I always say the best part of being the cook is? You get to add and take away whatever you want. And I'm happy with the amount I made. I was worried I wouldn't make enough of the sauce, but it's going to be perfect. And if I have any leftover sauce, I will probably just put it in a freezer container and save it for, I don't know, however many lunches it'll make for some spaghetti. Alright, that's looking pretty. I don't want to fill in these little thin spots. Put a healthy coating on it. I've got another bag in there. It looks like I'm gonna have to open. Oh, I'm just gonna make it just barely. Here, we don't want to waste that. Up for that Parmesan. I put a little extra anyway. Alright. Let's see how our other one's looking. Oh, let's see. It's looking pretty good. So I have a few more minutes on it. Clean up our mess a little bit. So I guess we're gonna take a few minutes and let that cook, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I think my table is sideways. And here it is. Perfectly yummy. Oh, perfectly yummy lasagna. The salad is just a pre-packaged salad I got. I didn't want to go through the hassle of making one. I've got the avocado ranch and the kale pecan cranberry, but I don't have any of the dressings on it. I'm going to use my own dressing. Ooh. Well, I had a pretty plate. Now it's just like going crazy over here. But, and there you have it. A lasagna, pretty lasagna. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 9. That would be a single serve. So if you doubled that up, it wouldn't exactly be 9 servings, but It came out to be 9 servings. So if you're not a big healthy eater, then there you go. So alright, so there's my lasagna. I don't really have a recipe for it, so I guess if you just follow the instructions and make sure that you watch the video fully through and write down the ingredients and about how many things to get or what to get, or just use your own seasonings, whatever you prefer. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go eat me some dinner and get all this makeup off of my face. I don't quite know how I'm gonna do that, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And next time, I believe I'm gonna be making the chicken salad that I've been promising everybody. So y'all have a good night, and thank you for watching. Bye.